Welcome back, you credit crunchers, to another exciting day of Let's Watch some additional Netrunner. Now, you may notice the locale has changed. The coronavirus has completely disrupted my work schedule, both my wife and I's work schedule, and so recording must happen in a different location. I'm sorry for the shaky cam. Hopefully, you know, the sound quality isn't completely terrible here. You will notice that if I'm quiet for just a moment, do you hear that? That is the sound of some barely perceptible machine out there. I don't know if it's an AC or a washing machine or something out the window that is being picked up on this mic. I can't help it. If I'm quiet and you're wearing headphones and you hear a noise, that's what it is. I'm sorry, I can't fix that. Anyway, enough random babbling. Let's take a look at, well, actually, let's make sure we swap the camera. Let's take a look at Netrunner as it is displayed on Jinteki.net, March 10th, 2020. Most wanted list 3.14b. You might wonder why I keep mentioning the most wanted list. It's because on the off chance that anybody actually watches these, I have found it to be frustrating when I'm watching other people's commentary and I don't know what the heck most wanted list they're on, what like time period the game is happening in, because then I don't have a frame of reference for the cards that are legal or illegal. Anyway, today, our first game is going to be Silhouette versus Polana Foods. Silhouette getting that expose on the first run on HQ, and Polana gaining a credit the first time each turn the runner draws a card. Now, here's interesting. We see Rebirth played. We're on turn, looks like turn 4. A Rebirth into Neurosavern? What? Okay, if that's what you want, that's your right. So, both Silhouette and Nero, very underplayed criminal runners. They definitely aren't top tier, but they're not worthless. I guess this guy thought that being able to expose anything he wanted for a run on HQ wasn't good in a Jinteki matchup, which has me scratching my head because I think he would want to expose cards. I personally think you would want to keep Silhouette. Anyway, SSL is scored by Polana, if I can remember the names. SSL is scored by Polana because the board state is being uncontested by our runner here. Runner decides to install a lot of cards. Trickster, Taka, Mantle. Mantle seems to be there for the after image use. He'll need another stealth credit, though, if he wants to use that, although Trickster Taka counts as a stealth source of credits. So he can bypass the... That's even more questionable, because now if he encounters a sentry, it really doesn't matter, because he can just bypass it anyway, or jack out if he wanted to. Anyway, he's going to Bravado run and see an engram flush. Leps has been using this against me lately. Very fun card, very neat card, very strong card in the right hands. There's a lot of varies going on here. Essentially, it's a 2-res 5-strength code gate, which is already insanely high. What happens is the corp names a card type and then reveals the grip twice, and then is able to trash any cards in the runner's hand of that named type. It's very porous, but very strong. He was using it against me to prevent my Apocalypse runs, which was frustrating. It seems like it didn't have much effect here. It looks like it was broken with Mantle, of course. Not Mantle, sorry, with Penrose being a decoder. Sure Gamble, 3 Sure Gambles in the bin for Polana, so they're rolling in dough, 27 credits. A second engram flush on R&D. Penrose still should be able to break this. Its strength boosting ability only accessible through the use of stealth credits, but it's actually a pretty good break cost ratio there. It's only 3 credits to break engram flush, a 5-strength code gate with 2 subs. Penrose showing that it's a pretty good breaker. The axis on top of R&D doesn't reveal anything interesting. Looks like it was just an Rashida. And Severn, Nero, let's call him Nero. Nero will trash that. There's an overwrite in the server from Polana, followed up by an additional piece of ice on the remote. A bravado run on archives, more than likely to force the corp to res ice if they want to make the bravado run non-profitable, or at least less profitable. However, Polana has 30 credits. I don't think money is their issue. So they go ahead and res the envelope on archives. It's going to force a breakthrough. Corroder, not too expensive, 3 credits, I believe. Although a lot of that money is coming off of, looks like Mantle. 1 from Mantle, 1 from Trickster, Taka, and 1 regular credit to break that envelope. The bravado run is finished. The runner draws a card, class act, allowing them to filter, similar to a daily business show for the corp. Amakuma hits the table. That'll help once a couple more runs are completed. However, Nero's just taken a little bit too long to set up here, as a Philotic Entanglement is scored by the corp. Now, diversion of funds, aiming for HQ here, passing through that engram flush for 3 credits, only 2 of them real. I think. Is that what happened? Nope. 1 of them. Yeah, 2 of them real. 1 coming from Mantle. Nero choosing to allow those Trickster Taka credits to count up. Although stealing 5 credits from Polana isn't really doing a whole lot here. The credit count is 14 to 20, 14 being the runner and 20 being the corp. Corp still has plenty of money to res all this ice on the remote. Nero decides to run the remote and chooses not to... Or, sorry, the corp chooses not to res the outermost piece of ice, resing the Koma Inu. 2 credits coming off of Taka to bypass the Koma Inu. I mean, he could have just broken that. In fact, I wonder if the 2 Taka credits would have just been better to break outright with Afterimage. It's not like Afterimage isn't a breaker. Wait, what? What? The runner concedes? Okay, so what happened is he ran into this server. Well, he can also break with Afterimage. It's very strange. Okay, so the runner just kind of impulse conceded here. What happened is they ran the remote, they hit the Koma Inu, they paid 2 credits off of Taka to bypass, and they were coming in here to probably just trash, you know, whatever was in this server during an off turn, kind of a safer turn. That way, depending on whatever was in this server, he wouldn't have to deal with it on perhaps an agenda run. Better to clear it out now, where if he crashes and burns, at least he's not losing an agenda out of it. The thing is, though, one of these cards was a ganked. Now, ganked here, we'll get the card up on the screen. Ganked essentially forces the runner to access, or rather encounter, another piece of ice that's rezzed. It just kind of reads, it's sort of like, what was that? The card that got removed from Creation and Control, Awakening Center, except Awakening Center was garbage. This is kind of like an Awakening Center that works on any piece of ice, except that the ice is just an ice on the server. I'm making this too complicated. So, Polana says, okay, Nero, you're encountering the Koma Inu again, and Nero had 2 options here. So when you encounter the Koma Inu, it now has 10 subroutines, and the reason for that is because it gains subroutines for the remainder of the run. And that's why abilities that force the runner to encounter Koma Inu multiple times are good. Multiple times in a single run, because Koma Inu preserves the subroutines it previously had. So in this instance, Nero had 5 cards, so it gained 5 subroutines. He paid to bypass, and then he encounters it again, so now it has 10 subroutines, of which he could pay. Well, here's what I thought, which is, you know, he can just pay to break this with Afterimage. It only costs him 5 credits to break with Afterimage, because Afterimage is a pretty efficient stealth breaker, or Killer Breaker. It breaks 2 sentry subroutines per real credit. Nero has 14 credits. He has plenty of money to break this. And the Corp even pointed out, hey, you're Nero. You can just jack out if you wanted to. Instead of choosing either of those options, the runner conceded. Yeah, I don't know. If I was him when I encountered this Koma Inu, I would not have paid the Trickster Taka credits, because those Taka credits are valuable. You want to keep hold of those as long as you can, because those are they're kind of like your net marker, sort of, but not quite. They're your source of emergency stealth credits, and I would have much rather paid 3 credits just to outright break Koma Inu with Afterimage than when you encounter ganked and the Corp says, oh, you're encountering Koma Inu again, then you can just pay the 2 stealth credits from Taka to bypass, because then it's got 10 subroutines. It's a better choice overall. That's okay. I think Nero had a good board state here. He certainly had cards played that were good. I mean, it's not like he wasn't draining the Corp dry. The Corp still had money to play around with, but you know, the Corp wasn't running away with the game or anything. He was a bit slow on the agenda contestations, and so he was behind in points, but I don't think this game was over for him by any means. And if I had to describe how he was playing, it was almost impatient, like not really stopping and thinking about what he was doing. So I think that's probably why he lost there. We'll jump into the next one. Looks like Criminal vs. Wayland. Leela. We didn't see a single Leela in our last recording. We recorded for 3 hours and didn't see Leela. Anyway, Leela versus Titan Transitional. The Titan Train. Choo Choo. Again, why they gave this ID 2 extra influence, I will never know. Because we haven't seen Titan Transition in a little while, we will read, whenever you score an agenda, you may place 1 agenda counter on it. Of course, that's meaningless with things like Hostile Takeover, but it's very good for Project Atlas. Leela doing normal Leela things. Looks like she's setting up for the potentiality of a gang sign access. Ooh, interesting. This is an exclusive party Leela, so she wants to draw through her whole deck. We see spoilers, so whenever a agenda is scored, the Corp trashes the top card of R&D. We also see a Maw. No gang signs yet, though, and the Corp is icing up HQ and R&D quite heavily. Perhaps Leela is holding the gang signs in hand? Hiding them? Although you'd have to think you don't want to do that against a Corp that can score hostile takeovers out of hand. However, she might know that the Corp might not need another hostile takeover. Once the Atlas train gets running, all you need are those 3/2s to win the game. We see the third exclusive party. Oh, there's the gang sign. So Leela's got money. She's got gang sign down. There's the hostile takeover. That's going to be a top card off of R&D trashed, plus an access with Leela due to gang sign, as well as a trash from Maw and something bounced back to HQ. Fisk played by Leela, making things annoying for the Corp when they have 8 cards in hand, 9 at the start of their next turn. Begalter, interesting. Leela intends to run, perhaps. Begalter, Amina. I don't know if I agree with the Amina install. Begalter, fine, it's only 3 credits. Amina drops her down to 1 credit. Even with these 2 data foldings running, that's only another 2 credits. She has a sure gamble in hand. She has to click up for 2 credits. Maybe she has another exclusive party or something. Exclusive party. This is a fun card. We should go over this a little bit. Draw 1 card, gain 1 credit for each copy of exclusive party in your heap. Now, when you compare this to cards like Build Script or Easy Mark, or what's the other one? Process Automation. Exclusive Party is only better than those cards if you are constantly drawing through your entire deck. If your goal is to draw through the entire deck, then the math on Exclusive Party is superior to those previous cards mentioned. Otherwise, you might as well just run Build Script or Process Automation, or, well, mostly just Build Script, because Process Automation is garbage, but, yeah, so, I mean, it's not the worst card ever, but in order for the math to work, you do need to draw through the entire deck consistently, and perhaps that's what this Leela wants to do. Now, there is a score on new construction, a 2-4. I kind of missed how the Corp scored this. Looks like they used the reconstruction dedication ceremony combo, which is kind of like Wayland's poor man biotic labor. Leela then manages to steal a global food initiative by that access from Gang Sign. Spoilers trashes a card. Maud doesn't trash a card because of the steal. However, she runs back into HQ, steals another global food initiative. Embezzle is played, naming... What did she name? Trash all ice. Oh, disgusting. Because she was bouncing ice back to hand with her ID ability, she ran HQ and named ice, trashing both Border Control and Afshar. 2 pieces of ice the Corp would very much rather have. And that's how Leela plays in that 1-2 swing punch. She goes from having no points to 4 points. And a bunch of money. Well, not a ton of money, but certainly enough money to play the game. 14 credits, 16 at the start of a turn because of the data folding. Pad tap hits the table, followed by a Fisk Seminar. Or rather, pad tap on the last turn, Fisk Seminar on the first click of this turn. And you know, there's that exclusive party played again. She down to 16 cards in her stack. There is somewhat of an argument for her making an acceptable choice by playing exclusive party in this deck. However, Biotic Labor comes out of Titan Transitional, allowing them to score a Project Atlas. Previously, Leela had played Traffic Jam, which increases the advancement requirement for any agenda that the Corp already has a copy of. It's increased by 1 for each copy of the agenda already in the Corp score area. Thankfully, there were no atlases in transitional score areas, so they weren't able... The Traffic Jam did nothing to Project Atlas. Lee's going to make another run on HQ. It's going to satisfy that Maw requirement. She accesses Whoredom. She's going to go ahead and run Archives just to see what's in there. It is just... Oh no, there was a Project Atlas in the bin. That puts Leela to 6, Corp at 6, another piece of ice bounce to HQ. Leela's going to run R&D to see what she can pull off the top. And just like that, Leela has 19 credits, Corp only has 14, and basically no board state whatsoever. Leela's going to make a final run on HQ, access Whoredom and the upgrade on the root of R&D, or HQ, which seems to be a Cyberdex Virus Suite, which she's not trashing because it doesn't matter. I guess she goes ahead and trashes it, because why not? However, with that Atlas token, Titan Transitional is going to... Actually, they didn't even need to use the Atlas token. It looks like they had the Hostile Takeover in hand. They just immediately score the Hostile Takeover for the win. Even if they didn't have that card in hand, they would have just Atlased for it. Look at that, a Titan Transitional that never used their ID ability. They might as well have been a blank Wayland Corp. That's funny. Something about playing against Titan Transition always makes me feel a little cheated. Because I feel like the game is just so aggressively fast. Kind of like back in the day when Sansan used to just score things outright and the runner just had to move at lightning speed to keep up. Titan Transitional always makes me... Transnational. Titan Transnational always makes me feel that way. You can't even say that in this game because, again, they never used any of those agenda tokens. The 2 hostiles didn't do anything. New construction is kind of a weird one. There might be a reason that... oh, wait a minute. There's this combo I believe you can do with new construction, where you install it, advance it, and then add... Because when you advance it, you can install something in a new server and res that card, ignoring all costs if there are 5 or more advancement tokens on new construction. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So essentially, they can install it in a new server. What they do is they install... Where is it? This one. Reconstruction Contact. which is a card that never gets used as it was intended. The way it's supposed to work is every time the runner suffers meat damage, you put advancement tokens on Reconstruction contract, and then you can trash it to move those advancement tokens onto another card. The real thing people do with it is they use Dedication Ceremony, which normally you can't score whatever you put those agenda tokens on, advancement tokens on, that turn. But so you dump them on Reconstruction contract, and then trash Reconstruction contract to put those advancement tokens on the agenda. And that's how you bypass Dedication Ceremony's restriction. So the idea is that you install new construction, advance it once, which then lets you install a card from hand. You install Reconstruction contract, use Dedication Ceremony with your last click, trash Reconstruction contract at light speed, put those advancement tokens on new construction, and just score to win. In fact, is that what he did? That is what he did. I'm an idiot. I was too slow. Game was moving too fast. Wasn't able to comment on that when it happened. And then, of course, the Atlas gets scored, and then the hostile from hand. Leela was trying to move quick. This is probably why you don't see too many Leela decks in the top, like the very top tier. Like the people who end up winning championships tend not to be Leela, because she takes too long to set up for the highest tier decks. But as far as high tier decks go, Leela is still very high tier. I guess she's just not like the highest of the high tier, if that makes sense. Oh well. Jump into a new game. 419 versus Argus. 419 forcing an expose on the first thing installed by the corp each turn, or a payment of 1 credit. And Argus requiring 2 meat damage or 1 tag whenever the runner scores an agenda. Hostile takeover scored from hand, 1 piece of ice on HQ. 419 has the class act and a lib account installed. Going to take a little bit off that lib account, pass it back over to the corp. Corp already has 18 credits. That's from Hostile Takeover, Hedge Fund, and IPO. Goes ahead and pays a credit to prevent the revelation, the exposition of the card on R&D. The expose. I don't know why I said exposition. And a mystery card on Archives. An upgrade, if you will. If I had to guess, that's probably Cyberdeck's Virus Suite. Tempting the run on Archives, saying, install your Amakua. Install it. Cyber Suite will ruin your day. 419 installs Rozeki to get that credit drip going. Argus knows what's up and ices Archives before he even sees the Amakua. Normally you might look at this and say, why would he ice Archives? What's he protecting against? Shouldn't he ice HQ? But it really is the Amakua from 419 that lets him run away with the game. He shut down 419's Amakua. He has to play like a normal runner. Even then, he has ways around it. He can expose with his ID ability. He can expose with Deuce's Wild. He can expose with, what's the other one? Falsified Credentials. Might even be a good idea if Argus reses that Cyberdeck's Virus Suite on Archives just to prevent that from happening. However, there's going to be a new card installed in a new remote. I believe they probably pay the credit to prevent that from being revealed. Yep, expose. Got to use the right words. Reveal is different from expose. Runner draws twice and continues to set up, installing Paragon and Padtap. Previous Rozeki entered the table on a turn prior. And, ooh, the Citadel Sanctuary. Okay, so this is a giveaway. This corp, this 419 is running Citadel Sanctuary Nexus combo. And unfortunately, that means that Argus needs to move faster than he's moving now. Argus overwrites one of the cards in Server 1 with a new card and a new card in Server 3. 419 going to go ahead and run that, and he hits a snare. Now that's funny. That's some super mind games from Argus. Payment on snare paid out, and 419 going to take those 3 net damage and tag. However, he lets Citadel Sanctuary remove the tag. Very frustrating. 419, of course, starting with one link, meaning that the Citadel Sanctuary, which is normally a trace 1, remove a tag, becomes trace 0, remove a tag. IPAO used by Argus, putting him back up into the healthy number of 17 credits, allowing him to continue to install things and prevent the expose. Annoyingly, that pad tap still gaining money from 419. Begalter and Corroder are already on the table for 419. It's becoming dangerously close to a real rig at this point. The fact that there's been no Amakua makes me wonder... Well, no, there's an Amakua in the bin. 419 might have just chosen at this point not to try it, because they know that this card is more than likely a Cyberdex Virus Suite, and they're just not going to fool around with the Amakua yet. Especially with the 2 Rizekis, they might want to find their decoder and play like a real runner today. Door-to-Door played, which is a very interesting interaction with Citadel Sanctuary. Yeah, I don't think Door-to-Door was the right call from Argus, not against a Citadel Sanctuary 419. The game's moving really quickly, so I'll try and go over this really fast. So essentially, when the runner's turn begins, there's a trace 1. If successful, do 1 meat damage if the runner's tagged, otherwise give the runner a tag. The problem is, 419 has 1 link, so again, this Door-to-Door, a 3-cost, mighty expensive current. 3-cost current, essentially reads trace 0, give the runner a tag. So if Argus ever wants to give 419 a tag, they have to pay into it, and then again at the end of 419's turn, another trace 0 just reads remove the tag. And so it's a bad deal for Argus. Argus shouldn't have played Door-to-Door. It's a very swingy current to begin with, and if the runner has even just a little bit of link, then the current is very bad. It's not even going to live long enough to do anything, because 419 runs the completely naked remote and sees a crisis management, goes ahead and takes that, and that kind of tips the hand of what Argus has been trying to do this entire time. Crisis management is when the runner is tagged, when your turn begins, do 1 meat damage. So Argus apparently is just trying to keep the runner with that 1 tag through Door-to-Door, through, you know, things like Snare, that kind of stuff, and just wants to slowly drip out meat damage here and chew through the runner's deck. I don't think 419's going to let Argus do it, though. The big clincher in the strategy is that Citadel Sanctuary. I don't know if Citadel Sanctuary should even be a card. To be honest, do I sound salty? Maybe it should be a card, but it's just, it creates kind of headlock situations like this that aren't really fun. But to be honest, Door-to-Door creates the exact same situation. Like, if we were watching this game, and we were watching a no-link runner, where Door-to-Door started to gain speed, it's kind of disgusting to see that as well, so. Anyway, a new card in the server 4, Naked Remote, as well as a... What? A 4-cost... What is this, a lockdown? Play only if the runner... Oh, it's an operation. It's a 4-cost NBN operation, new one. I'm not quite familiar with this. Choose a runner card type, trash all installed... What happened? Choose a runner card type, trash all installed non-icebreaker cards of that card type. The runner may prevent any of these cards by being trashed by paying 3 credits each. So he used that and named program, I think, in order to target the 2 Rizekis. 419 goes ahead and pays the 6 credits to keep the Rizekis. Corp gains 2 bad publicity? No, 1 bad publicity. At which point, 419 gets hard-hitting news because he paid in to keep Rizeki. He bravados? Is that what happened? Bravados HQ. There's no res on the HQ ice. He uses the money from Bravado to shake 3 of the tags, and then Citadel Sanctuary is the 4th. In response, the Corp installs a face-up commercial banker group. That's going to be annoying. That's 3 credits a turn for the Corp, unless 419 goes in and trashes that. And installs a new card in server 5, both naked. 419 going to go ahead and run that card. It is a second commercial banker group. He's going to go straight quick and run into the fourth card. Sorry, the server 4 card. Trash the second commercial banker group. At that point, Argus really doesn't have any money left. And the corp himself even admits here, good game. He'll never catch up in the econ race, and he hasn't even been siphoned yet. And it is true. 419, none of 419's siphons have hit the bin. So very unlikely that Argus was going to be able to catch up from this. I think it was a little bold to play door-to-door. Corp would have been 4 credits up if you count the click to play it as a credit. So they would have had 6 credits here. They used Forced Connection at some point. This is an interesting deck. Let's break this down a little bit and see what they were trying to do. So Forced Connection, when the runner accesses Forced Connection, trace 3. If successful, give the runner 2 tags. That's pretty cool. So Forced Connection is essentially a trap card that works anywhere but archives. And the trace 3 is neat, but it doesn't work against 419 as much because it's only a trace 2. So you'd have to have more money than 419. And that's the issue, right? This whole Argus strategy revolves around tracing the runner. You're going to trace the runner through door-to-door. You're going to trace the runner through Forced Connection. You're going to trace the runner through hard-hitting news. And 419's one link... So in a world without Citadel Sanctuary, 419's one link would make this a little more annoying, but I think it's still doable. The problem is with Citadel Sanctuary... it just becomes impossible. Well, impossible isn't the right word, but if the runner is playing correctly, then it's impossible. Like, obviously the runner makes a mistake or something, or drops too low on credits, but their one chance... So Argus did have a really good move here. They used this game over move, and I guess that only works if the runner steals an agenda in their previous turn. Which is probably why Argus installed it out in the open naked and said, hey, come on in and get this. Either I'm going to get to score it, or you're going to get hit by this game over move. He decided to name programs to target 419's 2 Rezekis, because it doesn't apply to icebreakers, so it can't hit the icebreakers. It's a tough choice. I think targeting the Rezekis is fine. Especially because 419 probably runs 2 or 3 copies of Citadel Sanctuary. So even if he named resources and trashed the Citadel Sanctuary, there's the possibility 419 just has another one in hand. However, the Rezekis, you're not going to have as many of them, and there are 2 of them already on the table. And so he hedges his bet. He says, okay, I'm going to game over the Rezekis. Either you pay into it, and then I hard-hitting news you, which he did, or you don't pay into it, and then you lose the Rezekis for the rest of the game. So I think the hard-hitting news move was the right call. That Argus's line of logic made a lot of sense. It's just that right after that, 419 Bravados, which gains him, like, what, 4 credits for free, basically? Kind of like a hedge fund in that regard. Bravados gains 4 credits, just shakes the tags, and then Citadel Sanctuary is the last tag. And at that point, any tempo, any forward momentum that Argus could have gotten was just gone. And he desperately tried to install the commercial banker groups out in the open, hoping 419 wouldn't run them or something, but there's no reason 419 isn't going to run those at that point. Yeah, can we just have an agreement, Nisei? Nisei, can we remove Citadel Sanctuary and Door to Door? Is that fair from the game? We'll just remove both these cards, and the world will be a happier place. Oh well. New game, Asmari versus Haley. Asmari gaining 2 credits for whatever card they name that the runner plays each turn, and then Haley getting the free install whenever they install something. You can install another card of the same type from your grip. Very good ability. Asmari hedge funds, installs in a new server, and ices that server. Haley admits that she's not going to run this turn by piecing in our time, street peddlering, and tech tradering. So it's a trash can, Haley. Not too surprising. She tends to play a little bit like Geist in that regard. Oh, she decides to change up the order of events by putting down the tech writer instead of the trader. She's going to go ahead and use the street peddler to install another tech trader. And then installs another tech trader because she, with her Haley ability. She lost Spy Cam and Sure Gamble. But having those two tech traders on the table on turn 1 is mighty good. Now, the card in the remote ended up being a Rashida. Asmari decides to consulting visit for a scarcity of resources. Very lucky that Haley got these on the table now. Haley needs to score an agenda to get rid of that scarcity resources. A daily quest goes right into the server. Very frustrating, going to earn Asmari a lot of money. Even more frustratingly, Haley top decks a Bologna, just pays it out. Now that scarcity resources is gone, Asmari had to spend 2 credits plus another credit, as well as a consulting visit cost itself, which is 1 click to play, another click because it's a double. So spent all of that time and tempo only to have Haley just snatch it away. They still have a consolation prize though, which is the daily quest in the server. They were also hard-hitting news. Apparently I missed that. Haley just spends her next turn shaking those tags. Had just enough money to do it with 1 credit left over. But that's going to buy Asmari much needed time to set up even more, and daily quest is more than likely going to go uncontested even longer in this game state. It's very hard to see what Asmari is naming. Let's see, it looks like she named event. They named event. English language, man, we don't have a neutral pronoun. New card installed in a remote previously created with 1 piece of ice on it, followed by a hedge fund. Back over to Haley. Haley continues to gain money by taking advantage of those tech traders, installing spy camera and popping it, knowing she doesn't need to run R&D now. Asmari finishes off their turn by installing a new piece of ice on top of the already existing, or rather above the already existing ice on the new server they created. Haley just draws, and installs a simul chip, and pitches Kashuk and Nunuk K. Kind of a signifier that she already has a Nunuk K in hand then. Asmari reveals the face-down card was a Rashida, gains 3, draws 3, puts another piece of ice on R&D, probably tipped off by the Kashuk, not wanting R&D to be a totally cheap and free run, and installs a 3rd piece of ice on that non-daily quest server, and installs a new card in that server. All ice on Asmari's side of the field unrezzed. They named event again, still trying to choke out whatever events that Haley might want to use. Although at this point, I'm not sure which events she would be playing. She doesn't have enough for Sure Gamble. Asmari triple advances the card in the remote server. Haley double draws, drops a clot previously into the bin on our last turn, draws again, 3 cards drawn, 8 in hand. Even with a Haley trigger, she's going to pitch 1 of them. Throws down the SMC and the Deus Ex. Okay. So Deus Ex, pretty good in this situation. Allows you to just go right through most sentries. Also combos nicely with Haley's trigger, as well as earning money on Tech Writer and Tech Trader when used. The double advance of the card in Server 2 reveals it to be the 2nd Bologna, earning the Corp 5 credits back for the use. Asmari continually naming event, Haley breaks down and uses her Sure Gamble, handing 2 credits over to the Corp. Scarcity resources has already hit the table, so Asmari getting that chokehold by saying, hey, if you play resources or if you play events, it's going to make your day more difficult. And previously, Haley, in the last turn, used that tech writer to get enough money to even play Sure Gamble, it seems. Asmari rolling in dough installs a third piece of ice on R&D and a fourth piece of ice in the non-daily quest server, followed by a new card in that server. Haley's got to do something if she wants to contest the game state at all. She's playing Net Installer at this point. Draws twice and installs a tech writer followed by a recon drone. The card in the server is revealed to be an echo chamber, which Asmari just flips and uses, gaining that critical 1 point they need because they probably just run all 3-pointers. It should be stated at this point that HQ is wide open, hasn't been iced at all. If I was Haley, I'd be tempted to check that out a little bit, maybe poke in there. See if there's any agendas building up in hand. Instead, she's gonna draw, take a credit, and run R&D with 1 click remaining. Seize the slot machine. It's gonna reveal Palangi, and Kilrain. So it's gonna be 2 subs. Runner indicates to fire all subs, so she's gonna lose 3, Corp gains 3. At this point, she's just pretty much lost the hard-hitting news battle, so Asmari gets to hard-hitting news her anytime she wants. Haley SMCs for Palangi and installs a Euler from hand. And Euler's going to be able to break code gates for free this turn. Continues the run, but runs into a barrier. And I don't think she's got anything in the bin to simulchip. No. Oh, that's right. I knew there was something more to this Deus Ex. I just couldn't remember it. So she Palangis the IP block into AP. And then Deus Exes it. So Deus Ex basically reads, as long as Palangi has a counter on it, I break any piece of ice. Nice get out of jail free card. Now, she knew that there was an agenda on top of R&D because of the recon drone. That's what it's called, right? Recon drone? No, spy camera. Why did I call it a recon drone? Spy camera. And so she knew that that was a good bet to go into R&D that turn. Steals the SSL. Of course, that's just giving more money over to Asmari. But, hey, an agenda's an agenda. Now Haley is also on game point. Asmari installs a 5th piece of ice on the remote server and a new card in the remote. If that is an agenda, you'd have to think Haley's going to sweat a little bit. Haley continues to draw and play cards. Installs the Akamatsu mem chip. Can't believe they added that back into the game. 1 credit for 1 mem. But okay, you know, whatever. Technical Writer still gaining a lot of money there. As well as a Sports Hopper was installed by Haley. Must just be looking for that draw when she needs it. Asmari archive memories, the scarcity of resources. I don't know if that was the right call. And still continues to name event. Haley pieces in our time, but Asmari doesn't need more money at this point. So the piece in our time money really doesn't matter. Tech Trader hits the table. Another resource hits the table in the form of Beth Kilray, and that's going to be an additional 4 credits that Haley had to pay to do that. Followed up by a spy camera. She must be really just trying to see what's in R&D. An install in server 2 overwrites the existing card. Must have been a... Oh, what must it have been? You don't think it was a snare, do you? We've seen Consulting Visit and Archive Memories. But yeah, overall, I'm not really sure what that would have been. If it was Rashida, you think they would have just used it. Some kind of trap or something. Maybe even an echo chamber. But whatever it was shuffled back into R&D. I bet it was a snare. You wouldn't shuffle an echo chamber back into R&D. There would be no need for it. What were the other 2 cards they took? Scarcity resources and archive memories. I don't understand why this Asmari is so obsessed with scarcity resources. They already have one on the table. The next agenda that's stolen is going to end the game. They don't need another scarcity resources. This scarcity resources is in the game for the rest of the game, because this Haley clearly doesn't run currents. There's a draw from Asmari and an install on a new server. Surprisingly, whatever card they had in server 2, they didn't advance. You'd have to think that's not an agenda then. Because with all of this ice on this server, you think they would just triple advance and say, come on in, otherwise I win the next turn. We know they probably run the third Bologna and 2 other SSLs. Perhaps, well, maybe not even the SSL. Perhaps it's 1 SSL and 3 Global Foods? I don't know. The Kushik is played, going straight into R&D. I'm sure they're going to name something like 1. Yeah, they have a million cards on the table with 1. Well, not a million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're going to get the full 6. A look at the top 6 cards of R&D and gets to access whatever one they please. They have the money to get into the server. They have the means to get into the server. This is probably game, but you never know. Nope, there it is. Bologna on top of R&D. There's the steal on the Bologna, and that's that. So you have to think that the Corp probably would have won if they could have just drawn an agenda and stick it in the server. I guess even if this was an agenda, though, and they triple advanced it, Haley still would have gone in for the Kushik. Did they reveal 1 or 2 agendas? Just 1. There's the chance that if the Corp drew that Bologna instead of Haley, like whatever this card is, right? If whatever this card was in R&D instead of Bologna, then they just triple advance this. Haley Kushiks and misses everything, and there's no way Haley's getting through this server. It's kind of funny, though. Look at that. All the money in the world didn't matter. 51 credits. No way to leverage it. Oh well. No big mind plays or no huge mistakes I saw anybody making, so just overall a pretty good game in that one. Alright, controlling the message versus 419, both pretty mean runners. IDs, I should say. We already see the double commercial bankers group. That has got to hurt. When you see that as the runner, you just, what do? Like, you can't go in there and trash them. But you can't not trash them. We're already on turn 3. 419 has shown Sure Gamble, Grappling Hook, a bankroll. Bankroll might help a little bit in this matchup, because I guess if you run those servers, you're getting a credit each time you do it, but it's not enough. Class Act hits the table already. They're going to overwrite their existing Class Act? Okay. I guess that's a thing? Is that what happened? Hold on, let me... Yeah, they overwrote their Class Act. What's the advantage to that? I don't really think there is much of one. He sure gambled, took 2 credits, and installed a new Class Act. Why wouldn't you just sure gamble and draw twice? Well, anyway. Amani Senai hits the table from controlling the message, preceded on the previous turn by team sponsorship. Just going to make things even more difficult once agendas start getting scored. Or even stolen because of the Amani Senai. I think this 419's already lost. I don't think there's really anything they can do. It's their turn. They boomerang the card on HQ. This is a time when it's okay to boomerang an unres piece of ice. They're going to counter the turnpike. That is going to force them to lose a credit. I'm a little confused because the corp, like, jumped the gun and immediately fired the trace. Oh, they're apologizing. They didn't mean to. At any rate, so yeah, Boomerang's going to go ahead and break that. They do lose the credit, 419 does, because of the on-encounter with Turnpike. Not a big deal, though. They're very happy to go into HQ in this situation and steal 5 credits. So it's 419 after you do this, though, because now it's 419 has 12 credits and NBN has 9. I mean, 419 has a little bit of money now, but it's not like NBN has nothing. So 419 can't afford to now go trash happy, right? Because they'll just get hard-hitting news. And so instead, after the diversion of funds, they just click for a credit. NBN draws a card, takes a credit, and hard-hitting news is anyway. Ah, that's questionable. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Because, yeah, they have to pay 11 credits for this trace to stick. So, here's what I can say. It's not the worst decision in the world to hard-hitting news there. Because 419 is going to have to do exactly what they did, which is spend 4 clicks and 8 credits removing those tags. And because of the 2 commercial banker groups, controlling the message is definitely going to bounce up quickly. In fact, they install the 3rd commercial banker group. They're making 9 credits a turn without spending a single click. It's just, it also slows the corp down a little bit. You know, I don't know what I'm saying, because I guess seeing how much money the corp is making, there's really no reason why they shouldn't have hard-hitting news there. So I guess it's fine. 419 runs HQ and then runs R&D, steals a kitty cat. Amani Senai triggers rather. NBN boosts the strength to put it just outside of 419's ability to fight. And controlling the message just bops that bankroll back into 419's hand, so the money... But there's a run on archives. We're seeing an apocalypse. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I did not expect that. So... Yikes. So 419 technically has a tag because of NBN's trace. But all 3 commercial banker groups are now in the garbage. Now 419 has 0 credits, so it's going to take them a little while before they can start doing things again. But the game basically reset. So 419 draws a card and clicks for 3. Controlling the message has daily business resed and filtering, as well as a piece of ice on HQ and 6 credits to their name. They go ahead and draw, create a new server. They don't fight the expose, they reveal that it's resistor protecting that remote, and they install a new card in their remote. Kinda gotta wonder what it could be. So many assets in this deck. It could just be another asset, but what asset would be so valuable they would want to protect it with ice? Dirty Laundry and R&D from 419. Oh, disgusting. Sees another agenda. Global food. Yeah, so if it wasn't for that apocalypse, 419 definitely would have been out of this, but amazingly, the apocalypse just totally reset all of the momentum that controlling the message had. This is suddenly a new game. They go ahead and diversion of funds HQ, forcing the res out of NBN. However, it's shown to be an IP block. Which normally would give a tag, but 419 paid the trace. And then they bravado into a resistor, which they knew that was a resistor, but they didn't care. They weren't doing that for the... They weren't doing that to bypass resistor. They were doing that to play bravado as an easy mark. A new card is installed in a remote by controlling the message, and then closed accounts is played, losing 419 all of that money. Now this is exposed as a team sponsorship. NBN isn't fighting those traces. Bankroll is installed by 419. Both players are just like desperately scrapping at each other. Like both their legs are broken. Each other's alternate shoulder is dislocated, and they're just slapping each other with their one good arm, desperately trying to claw ahead of the other. And the moment one or the other gets an advantage, the moment one or the other gets something good, the other just tries to take it away. Now, Beal is scored by NBN, which reveals... Sorry, doesn't reveal, which activates team sponsorship, pulling Turnpike out of archives and installing it, ignoring the installation costs. A run on R&D steals a Project Ares, not a Project Ares, an AR Enhanced Security, also abbreviated to Ares. Another run on R&D isn't going to reveal anything, and then a double click by 419 just to try and get something. Some kind of credit advantages, some kind of credit something, anything. The corpse has 0 credits though, so even if they had hard-hitting news, they wouldn't be able to use it. Although I suppose they could... No, they don't have enough clicks to click up. But there comes the economy for hard-hitting news. Daily quest installed behind the resistor. It's going to be gaining them 3 credits a turn unless 419 does something about it, and the chances are pretty low that they'll be able to do something. They have to be able to get into the server and pay the trash costs, which admittedly is essentially 1, because they get 2 credits on the successful run on the server. They take a credit and remove that tag. You know, at this point, I don't even know if you remove the tag. Like, what good does it do? I don't know, I guess it prevents you from being closed accounts. But most decks don't run more than 1 copy of closed accounts anyway. A bravado on resistor. He's probably just going to do the same thing, let this fire, and then just use bravado essentially as an easy mark. The reason I say that is because bravado gains you 6 credits when the run ends. Since you're paying 3 into it, easy mark does the exact same thing. Bravado only making you more money, only being better really than an easy mark if you're using it to actually go through ice and get into a server. Then it becomes an amazing card. Overall, I really do like bravado. It's a very cleverly designed card. It rewards interacting with the board state. But if you're just using it as an easy mark, then it's just an expensive easy mark. Anyway, he uses his 3rd bravado to do that again. Looks like he popped the bankroll. Now he's going to inside job the daily quests? That would be what I imagine he does. He almost kind of has to, but kind of doesn't. Like, he's screwed no matter what he does. Even if he inside jobs the resistor and trashes the daily quest, he has to fight the controlling the message trace, and then he just loses all the what little money he just gained. And the credits are 9 to 8 here. Oh, we are going to see the inside job? But an inside job on an uniced archives. 419 is being all kinds of goofy right now. Decides, no, you know what? That's silly, and draws a card anyway. Daily Business Show continuing to filter those cards in HQ. Although you'd have to assume at this point, probably an agenda or two may have trickled into the HQ at this point. A new ice on R&D is exposed to reveal an IP block. And there's the hard-hitting news. NBN should be able to boost the trace on this so that 419 can't fight it. There it is, boosted to 11. Effectively, with Link, 419 can fight a trace of 10. So that's 4 more tags on 419, and again, this is the same exact situation as we saw earlier, where, yes, the Corp is going broke to do this, but they're able to replenish their money much faster than the runner because of the assets they have on the board. Now, they don't have 3 commercial banker groups, but the daily quest earning them 3 per turn is just too much. It's essentially a commercial banker group at this point. Dirty Laundry run in R&D goes uncontested by the ice because the Corp can't afford to res it. It being an IP block and their credit short. Apparently nothing good was seen, and an inside job used on the resistor going straight in for that daily quest. Not a terrible choice now that the Corp is down to 1 credit. They were relying on that daily quest to boost them back up. The runner then shakes 2 tags? Is now the time you shake tags? How much does high profile target cost to use? Is that what they're afraid of? I mean, a high profile target just kills them anyway right now, right? I almost think you don't shake the tag. You draw and see if you maybe draw a Sure Gamble or your other Dirty Laundry or whatever other money cards you have. Guess it wouldn't be Bravado. So that way you have the money to play them. He does draw twice. He wants to see maybe if he can find that Sure Gamble there. He clicks up to 4 credits. Corp filters with Daily Business Show and installs a new card, and it is Commercial Banker Group. He was able to shuffle that back into his deck with preemptive action. And that's got to be frustrating to see as the runner. All that work, all that effort that you used to try and shut down the Corp's economy, and it's just right there back up again. Looks like Swift is 419's console. The first time you play a run event, each turn gain a click. Kind of a neat console. Kind of supposed to be Ken Tenma's console, in a way. Install double advance of a new card. That's probably, yep, 15 minutes. The reason this was done is to trigger Team Sponsorship's ID ability. Team Sponsorship's ability. Wouldn't be surprised if we even see another commercial banker group pulled out of the bin and res. Especially because the IP block on R&D only costs 2 credits. No, it's a Daily Business Show. Must not be concerned about the money. Oh, whoops. Corp wants to undo it. Wanted to choose a different card. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. The Daily Business Show was an odd choice. I think for sure you would want either money or probably not the team sponsorship, but maybe even a daily quest. There it is, yeah. So, Commercial Banker Group is the choice here. Even more frustrating when you consider just how dire of a state the game was in when 419 was looking at 3 of these things, and he managed to tip the scales into his favor. And now he's just looking at a board state where there's 2 more. Can't say he's not really fighting this out, though. He's fighting as hard as he can. He's got 4 points to NBN's 3. I mean, in a strange world where 419 is able to snag 2 more agendas, I mean, he wins, right? Unless somehow both of them are kitty cats. Rashida installed in the remote, and then Rez, that was because they didn't pay out to prevent the expose from 419, so you might as well Rez it. Prevents those falsified credentials from doing anything. Double draw from 419. Dirty Laundry going somewhere. Into the Daily Business Show, probably just to satisfy the condition of Dirty Laundry. He's probably not going to trash this. If he did, he'd take a tag anyway. Just waiting on the corp to respond. Now, can 419 pull this off? I think their win comes from either getting an agenda from HQ or getting an agenda from R&D. R&D's a little more tricky because you never know what's going to be on the top. Oh. Interesting. He installs a boomerang and goes in for the Dirty Laundry on... Okay, I was going to say, wait a minute, what? Alright, so he undid his click. He didn't want to run the Daily Business Show. Instead, he boomerangs Resistor, Dirty Laundries the Rashida server, trashes Rashida, gets the Dirty Laundry money back, takes a tag from the NBN. So, I mean, I guess that slowed NBN down, kind of, except now the exchange of information comes out. NBN's going to swap the 15 minutes. Ugh, so painful. Swap the 15 minutes for the Global Food Initiative. So not only is that a swap for more points, but now they go ahead and shuffle 15 minutes back into their deck. So what was a 4-3 game has suddenly become a 5-2. Or I should say a 2-5. 419 just kind of getting dragged around here. They have played admirably. They have stuck with this, and while maybe I wouldn't have trashed the Rashida myself, I cannot look at their actions and say that they are playing poorly or giving up or anything like that. They are really trying here to do everything they can to give NBN a run for their money. Now, Boomerang on the Archives ice. Sneak Door Beta. Is this the last hurrah? Enigma is rezzed. That's going to force the use of Boomerang. Going straight into HQ, and there it is. There's an agenda in HQ. We knew there had to be some. That's going to be a morale boost. especially after losing your last global food. Although the problem is, if the corp runs another copy of Exchange of Information, which they might not, but if they do, they're just going to 15 minutes that one into their score area. Yeah, it's not uncommon for NBN decks like this to only run one Exchange of Information and one closed accounts. Actually, it looks like the closed accounts were shuffled back in with preemptive. I missed that. Back to NBN, they hedge fund, draw a card. Well, draw a card and hedge fund. The hard-hitting news again. Perhaps they run psychographics. And so they're looking for the psychographics win on a Beal. 419 is definitely tagged now, though. Nine runs the the daily business show. For what purpose, though? They can't do anything with it. Is it just to get the bankroll money? Surely not. Maybe it is. I don't know if I understand. Oh, wait, no, I do understand. He's doing this because he can't keep his money in his credit pool. Because if he does, NBN can just close accounts him. So he's building up a reserve. He's building up a reserve of cash to keep on hand, so that when he needs the money, he can have it. NBN can trash his assets. Sorry, his resources. He can close his accounts, but he can't do anything about programs. 419 is really, really giving this his all. I feel like a lot of, lesser runners would have conceded at this point. He's going to continue to do that, building up more money on bankroll. If I had to guess, he's probably looking to do another... Oh, interesting. He inside jobs the resistor to see what the mystery card is, and it's just a daily quest, unfortunately. Yeah, failed to mention NBN installed a new card behind the resistor. It's just a daily quest. Ends up not mattering. There's the psychographics, though. Psychographics on the Beal. That's going to be game. Well played. Definitely. Controlling the message is not an easy ID to play against. It's probably one of the top tier, if not at the top tier, of all corp decks, and has been for some time. And this 419 was definitely trying his hardest to win. Specifically, you can see that in the bankroll play. He didn't click up for credits and just say, pass to you. The fact that he was thinking, trying to grab every piece of advantage he could have by putting credits on bankroll to prevent himself from getting closed accounts, showed that this guy really respected this particular game and was trying his best to win. And it ended up being somewhat close. He had 4 points. Problem is, he still needed to steal 2 of them. 2 agendas, that is. Alright, let's go in for Titan Transnational versus Hoshko. Transnational has already played too big to fail and has a border control resed in front of a wall-to-wall. Hoshko Rozeki already hit the table with a pad tap and Dream Net. She is in dominance mode, so she's going to get the draw and the credit. Runs the face down, hits Rashida, trashes it, runs HQ, finds a second Rashida and trashes it. Runs HQ a third time, finds a reconstruction contract. That one's going to be a little more expensive, but you guessed it, she trashes it. Install double advances, probably hostile takeover. It is from Transnational. It's going to get them a little bit of money, but it's going to make it that much easier for Hoshko to trash these assets. Hoshko runs HQ, getting a draw and a credit from DreamNet. Access Fast Track. Event can't be trashed or anything like that. She runs R&D, accesses an unseen card, runs HQ another time, sees ScapeNet. Can't trash that either. And on her final click, installs Daily Quest. I love it. I love the aggression. I love taking advantage of just getting in there, trashing stuff, getting the DreamNet credits, taking advantage. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to take advantage of the bad publicity. But she knows against Titan Transnational she needs to move quick. Now, Fast Track out of Transnational, followed by a Biotic Labor, and here's the combo, right? Dedication Ceremony played on... Wow, that was quite the roundabout way to do that. That was Fast Track, drew the Atlas, Dedication Ceremony, the Reconstruction Contract, and then scored the Project Atlas, and the Atlas train is live. Meanwhile, Hoshko plays I've Had Worse, installs Amakua, runs HQ, sees a Whoredom. I missed what their other click was. Meanwhile, Transnational draws twice. Now, I failed to mention that every turn they're getting to fire off these three abilities. They're drawing a card, gaining credit, and placing an advancement token on a piece of ice. Now, the advancement token isn't really mattering unless this guy runs Red Planet Courier. Hoshko runs R&D, sees nothing, runs HQ, hits a hedge fund, runs HQ again, hits a Rashida, which she doesn't trash? Why didn't she trash the Rashida? Interesting. She has bad publicity, so it would have been free to trash. Runs the border-controlled remote? Oh, she didn't trash... Oh, okay. She didn't trash it because she wanted the Amakua token. And the Amakua token needed that... No, it didn't. It didn't need 4 strength. It's 4 to res, not 4 strength. Now that would be insane if border control was 4 strength. No, I don't know why she didn't trash the Rashida. Anyway, using the transnational, or rather, not transnational ability, but using the Atlas token, they put another Atlas in their hand, which they audacity to score. They have no cards in HQ now. Hoshko goes in and trashes wall to wall. Things are moving really quickly. I'm having a hard time keeping up. So Hoshko runs in, trashes wall to wall. Runs R&D, trashes Cyberdeck's Virus Suite. Runs Archives. No, undoes that. Runs R&D. Meanwhile, Transnational plays Hedge Fund. Which they obtain by archiving memories. Hoshko just continues to run R&D over and over again, and this is for the turning wheel counters. Manages to hit what seems like nothing, and then she concedes. She must have saw the win in hand. Very fast player. Maybe a little too fast. Maybe they felt like it didn't matter. This card here, I believe, is a Rashida. No, the Rashida has to be here when the Corp trashed their hand. Maybe the player didn't trash Rashida because they knew the Corp was just going to Audacity anyway? Wouldn't you want to trash the Rashida, reducing the chance of them Audacitying? I don't know. So they ran R&D. Well, why did they quit here? They ran R&D a bunch of times, used all their turning wheel tokens, didn't see anything good, and then conceded. But the game wasn't over, was it? Unless... No. Okay, so probably what happened is when she ran R&D and saw all these cards, she probably saw a biotic labor. Because at the point where Transnational has one token on Atlas, they Atlas for the next agenda, and then they biotic labor the agenda, and it's just another Atlas, and then they win. That's Transnational. This is why I don't really like playing against Transnational. It didn't feel like much of a game, did it? It was just Hoshko running like mad because she knew if she didn't, she lost. And Transnational winning because they had cards? I don't know. Am I being negative? I should stop being negative. Alright, let's be positive in going into this one. The outfit versus Hoshko. Poemu and DreamNet has hit the table. We've seen a remove from game on Turning Wheel and Stim Hack, probably from Gachapon. Amakua now hits the table, and a run on a remote. 2 naked remotes from the Corp. A piece of ice on R&D and a piece of ice on HQ. The naked remote Hoshko hit ended up being the snare. Bad luck. The other one was the Rashida. Corp pays into the snare. Hoshko takes the damage. One of them, however, was... One of the damage was I've had worse, so Hoshko draws back up, shakes the tag. Rashida fires, 3 cards drawn, 3 credits gained. Here we see... what? I think this was done incorrectly. We see the installation of City Works project, followed up by a dedication ceremony. Oh, no, it wasn't done incorrectly. That's just what the Corp wanted. That's the second City Works scored by Hoshko. The install double advance. Okay. Things are moving in a strange direction. The outfit seemed to just be playing recklessly there. I'm not sure why they just face-upped a City Works when Hoshko could very well just go in and steal it. Lib accounts played by Hoshko, going to gain her enough money to be at 12 credits. Amakua going to make things annoying, able to get virus tokens on archives whenever she wants them. An upgrade goes on R&D. And last click is a credit for the Corp. They have 23 credits, so plenty of money. A run on archives, 1 face down card is revealed to be too big to fail. Nothing in archives to keep Hoshko out. No Cyberdex virus suites, no breach domes or anything like that. She runs archives again. Of course, she's getting that DreamNet trigger. Runs archives a 3rd time. And installs Rydzeki. She has enough virus tokens on Amakua to make it annoying. The outfit ices archives, probably wants to purge the next turn. Takes 2 more credits. They don't really need the money, they're probably just stalling out here. Hoshko now has to decide what she wants to do. She installs a boomerang, boomerangs the ice on HQ and runs HQ. It's res to reveal a bulwark. Boomerang isn't going to be able to break all of those subs. And Amakua certainly isn't going to be able to... prevent that or break that. She allows the Trash 1 program to resolve. The Corp trashes Rydzeki. Wouldn't you want to trash the Amakua? Hoshiko accesses a Ronin, goes in and trashes it. Yeah, why the Rizeki? The Amakua... No! Oh, gosh. Because look, now they just had to spend their next turn purging. If they had trashed the Amakua, they could have done something with this turn. Maybe they're that confident that they don't need to move quickly. Anyway, because they spent their turn purging, Hoshiko was able to just pad tap, daily quest, daily cast. The problem being that the corp is pretty rich, so they just trash both the pad taps. Of course, as the runner, you're kind of okay with that. Either way, you're getting something out of it. You're okay with wasting the corp's clicks and credits. Hoshiko bad publicity at some point? How did she mining accident? No, she discarded mining accident. She's discarded 2 mining accidents, mostly because it's the outfit, and she just doesn't want to give the outfit more money. That's pretty good. You remember we watched that game last time, where the guy kept mining accidenting the outfit, and it just didn't matter? This Hoshiko is playing pretty smart, and just saying, you know what, I don't need to use mining accident, you just want bad publicity, I'm not going to give you more. Hoshiko triple draws and installs Trickster Taka, discarding Amakua. She's probably looking for her real breakers. Since Amakua is kind of off the table, there's Black Orchestra in the bin, so Paperclip and MK Ultra are probably soon to follow. Install of a new piece of ice in a new remote, and double advance on that ice. The final pad tap hitting the table by Hoshiko, preceded by a double draw. She's still looking for those cards that she needs. Discards a liberated accounts. Guess she thinks she doesn't need money? Or has better things in hand. Another click of the ice on the remote, and that's going to turn on Space Ice or Hordem or Mausolus, as well as the installation of a new card in a single advance. Hoshiko runs after installing Paperclip and Odore, runs into Mausolus, which doesn't gain any advantage for being advanced if it's broken. Hoshiko breaking Mausolus with Odore. No, sorry, what am I saying? Black Orchestra. And steals the Broad Daylight for the win. So that game moved crazy fast. Again. Some of the things we can see that I think were worth mentioning were the mining accidents were not played by Hoshiko. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't think you need to give the outfit more bad publicity. Especially when you're paying them to do it. And losing money yourself. I don't think trashing the pad taps by the corp was the worst idea in the world, but you have to look, what did he get by doing that? He didn't play any cards that gained him money. It's not like he had an SSL ticking down or something like that. So yeah, trashing the pad taps didn't really do anything. I also really think he should have trashed the Amakua. Because when you play the outfit, you're a rush deck, right? You're a deck that says, I don't care if I take bad publicity because I'm going to win so quick that it won't even matter. And so you don't care about the Rizeki, because the Rizeki is a long-term card. It's a card that builds up over time. If he trashed Amakua with the Trash a Program subroutine on Bulwark, he doesn't have to purge the next turn, and he can move that much faster. And you might just say, well, yeah, but doesn't Hoshiko just install a new Amakua? Well, the answer is yeah, they do. But it doesn't matter, because them having the Amakua wasn't really the problem. The problem was an Amakua with 4 counters. Otherwise, I don't think there was really anything else to mention other than the bold-faced install of the CityWorks project in a naked remote with a dedication ceremony saying, you won't steal this if you have to take 6 damage to get to steal it, was kind of dumb. Because any runner will gladly steal a naked CityWorks project as long as they have the cards in hands to steal it. Well, not any runner. I suppose there are certain weird circumstances, but you as the corp would have no way of knowing if the runner had a card in their hand that was so incredibly important that they couldn't steal it. But even then, if they just play that card and then draw. So. Alright. Replicating Perfection versus Kentenma. Been a lot of while since we've seen Replicating Perfection. You have to make a run on a central server in order to run any of the remote servers. Not surprisingly, RP is running horizontal. Installs an upgrade in archives. You have to assume that's the CyberDex virus suite. Double Sundew, very painful to see. Those are going to be gaining the corp 2 credits a turn. As well as the Bioethics Association, that has to be taken care of at some point. It's going to deal a net damage to the runner at the beginning of every turn. Daily Business Show is just annoying. Ken draws twice. Installs Tycoon. Where did their other click go? Oh, they fisked. I see. So they're going to take another net damage at the beginning of their turn. Oh, sorry. It's the beginning of the corp's turn. So the beginning of the corp's turn, Ken takes a net damage, loses a Deuce's Wild. 2 more installations of blank cards in a remote. A third one previously installed, not used, rezzed, or advanced in any way. 1 more click for the corp to see what they want to do. Tycoon, very, very cheap Fractor to install. Somewhat average Fractor to use. Problem being is that you hand 2 credits over to the corp every time you use it. Look at a Blueberry Diesel. I'm not a fan of Blueberry Diesel, but you can't argue that it does filter your deck, so if you want to move fast and you're criminal already, I certainly don't think that you use Blueberry Diesel unless you're a criminal. All the cards in the remotes are rezzed. It was a Rashida team sponsorship and a Jeeves, which allowed the triple advance of House of Knives. Team sponsorship fires and installs Commercial Banker Group. Super frustrating. Was that out of HQ? No, from Archive. So that was one Ken had already done his diligence for and trashed. And a mystery card from HQ installed with that last G's click. Now there's a run on Archives, and it's not a CyberDex virus suite. It's a Hokusai grid. He jacks out, which I don't know if... Are you allowed to do that? Oh well. He then plays Planned Assault, which lets you look through your deck and find any run event and play, and decides to use Marathon. Marathon lets you kind of just run everything. I'm not sure what's going on here. So that was a pretty cool move. I kind of missed it while it was happening, but essentially what he did is he planned assaulted after running Archives to satisfy RP's condition. Then he gained a click because he used Swift through Marathon, and Marathon essentially reads pay a credit, make a run on a remote server, and gain a click. And if the run was successful, you can add Marathon back to your grip. So essentially it lets you check all the servers. So he ran in and trashed Commercial Banker Group, as well as Bioethics Association. And Marathon is going to be a pretty useful card in this matchup, because anytime Ken needs it, he essentially gains 1 click by paying a credit, which is pretty good. So he fisks, he runs archives, but he jacks out, and I don't know if that timing is right. I don't know if you can jack out before the run is successful. Can you? Maybe you can. Oh, things are moving too quickly again. A hostage for Aeneas Informant. Very, very good in this matchup. Okay, so essentially Aeneas Informant is going to let him run Marathon, and each time he runs and accesses one of these cards, he's getting a credit from Aeneas Informant, which in turn is giving Amakua a counter. This is some beautiful synergy, and he just keeps doing this over and over and over again, and he's doing it for free because Aeneas Informant gives him the credit back on the access in which you do not trash a card. I guess that counts on whenever you access a card with a trash cost. I knew it didn't apply to agendas. I couldn't remember how. So anytime you access these assets, he's getting a credit for it. And the moment he finds his second Aeneas Informant, he's then going to start making money on these runs. In addition to Amakua gaining like 10,000 counters. This is the perfect kind of corp that this Ken deck wants to play against. Which means if Ken loses this, it's kind of on him. Because his strategy specifically counters what Replicating Perfection is doing. Now we see Engram Flush. We already know what this one does. The corp names a card type. In this situation, he names Event. However, Amakua is totally okay with breaking this for 2 credits. Which is hilarious. He's going to keep going. Corp doesn't res the ice on HQ. Ken gets into HQ and sees a Cortex Lock. Not a very useful piece of ice. Now, Ken can go and do the exact same thing, where he marathons all the servers for free because of Aeneas Informant. He really wishes he had that second Aeneas Informant. I don't believe it's unique. It isn't. And so here he goes. He marathons a Maryland campaign. Doesn't trash it. Marathons the second face down card. It ends up being a team sponsorship. Doesn't trash it. He probably doesn't really need the extra Amakua counters, but he goes ahead and grabs one anyway. Marathons the Jeeves model Bioroid. Oh no, he wants to trash the Jeeves. And he's going to take a couple more credits because he does need that real money. Because he still needs to be able to break things. The corp kind of needs to purge or something. But even if they purge... Yeah, so there's the purge. Amakua is set back down to 0, so now Ken has to find a real way into the centrals. But even if the corp does purge, Ken only needs to make one more run to get Amakua back up to 1,000,000 counters. He fisks, plays a sure gamble, installs a new daily cast. The corp looking at a lot of cards in hand right now. Decides to install. They have one more click, installing a final card. Real problem with this is that, as we know, Fisk is more than able to just crash into all of this with Marathon. Special Order is played. to pull Amina out of Ken's stack. That's going to allow him to break Engram Flush for 4 credits. Not too bad. It's going to lose the Corp 1 credit, but that doesn't really matter. The Corp has 40 credits. And here he goes in again with the Marathon Run. Corp pings him once with House of Knives. Kind of have to think, you gotta be worried. What if this is a snare? Corp pings Ken again with House of Knives. Ken sees Bioethics Association and trashes it. Jeeves is res. The real problem with Ken right now is he's pretty low on money. He's gonna get 4 from Daily Cast next turn though. Replicating Perfection ices R&D. You have to think, RP is kind of set up to win, but they have to find the win. I would guess that HQ is probably filled with agendas. That card in server 19 looks a little suspicious as well. Ken draws and Blueberry Diesels. What's killing me is if he has more Aeneas informants, he either hasn't drawn them or hasn't installed them. I don't see any in the bin. I feel like if he does run more than one Aeneas informant, then he's probably just screaming and pulling his hair out right now for not having found them. He even runs hostage to find it. You see there's 2 hostages. That really makes me think he's running more than one Aeneas informant, because if you were going to run 2 hostages, you might as well run 3 Aeneas informants, because there's nothing else that hostage tutors for in this deck. Nothing else is a connection. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other connections. So yeah, the hostage shows that this guy has to be running 2 other Aeneas informants. So he runs HQ, breaks Engram Flush for 4 credits. Earns a bit of money off of Mystic Miami by using Dirty Laundry. In that server, he sees Team Sponsorship. That was the card in server 19. Now he's going to go through and do his marathon run to get Amakua bazillion credits. Sorry, virus tokens. He's not doing this to be goofy. He's not doing this to be, like, annoying. He's literally just getting Amakua tokens. Oh, something I didn't consider. I said the HQ is probably full of agendas, but the truth of the matter is the Daily Business Show has been filtering Replicating Perfection's hand the entire game. So there's probably not as many agendas in there as I might think. All Ken needs to get into those servers is just 4 credits to break Engram Flush. And that might be why he didn't bother running more servers to get more tokens, because theoretically there could be like a DNA tracker out there which has 6 strength, I believe. Ken literally doesn't care. He just wants enough credits to break Engram Flush, because that's what he's going to do every time. He's going to break Engram Flush. He's going to completely ignore the central servers. He's going to go straight for the remote servers. Now he drew twice. He runs, breaks engram flush with Amakua for a meager 2 credits. And then jacks out. And now he's going to do the marathon runs. Checking the face down, server 20, the newly created server. It is a commercial bankers group. He's going to let that stay on the table because he doesn't care. Corp has 58 credits. Might as well be infinite money at this point. He installs the next Aeneas informant. And there it is, finally. Finally, the second Aeneas informant. It's insane that it's taken this long. The third one must still be in the stack. He was able to do that because he gained a click by playing a run event with Swift. Now he's going to run all of these servers with Marathon, and he's gaining 1 credit off of each run. Now this is what I meant when I said this is the kind of deck that Ken wants to play against. So if he loses, it's on him. But you know, you almost can't blame him when he has 2 hostages and 3 Aeneas informants and he didn't draw any of them. Like, it's almost not that guy's fault. That's just bad luck. Anyway, so he runs all these servers, gains a bunch of money. Did he trash one of them? Looks like he trashed a Jeeves, I think. I might have missed that. Because he dropped in money. He runs, hits a barrier, jacks out? He broke the barrier, but didn't go in for the access? Oh, okay, that was a mistake. He's undoing the click. Yeah, he's gonna go in for this. Envelope res, yeah, because he obviously can break it with Amakua. It's a Prisec. So the Corp knew he was going in there. But he still gains another click after playing Marathon, so he's gonna shake the tag. He loses his Bugalter. It's probably a one of, and he's got no way to get that back. But it doesn't matter. Not unless the corpse installs a killer in front of this engram flush. Because Ken doesn't need it. And even if he does, the corpse is going to have to purge after... Pardon me. He's going to have to purge after installing a killer over this engram flush, because otherwise Amaku is just going to break it. I need to remember to start bringing some water with me when I do this. There's the purge, but I don't... That was silly. Why did the Corp purge? There's the third Aeneas informant. The Corp now loses. Oh my goodness. Insult to injury. Caldera hits the table, so net damage is no longer a factor in the game. So the reason the Corp shouldn't have purged there is because all Ken does is runs engram flush, breaks it with a Mina, hits all of these remotes, gains 1 billion Amakuma counters, and then just keeps going about his business. Yeah, the Corp has already lost this. Mostly because they can't actually score. They can install all the cards they want, and it's not going to matter. Yeah, because this is what Ken does. Ken's going to run in, he's going to break engram flush, he's going to run all the servers, he's going to marathon everything, gain 2 credits for every server. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 open servers. So he's going to gain 22 credits off of this. Ironically, well, maybe not ironically, but technically the first marathon run is free due to Ken's ID ability. But here goes. It's just going to be a lot of running here, and Ken really probably doesn't even need to run all these servers. He's probably going to run enough so that he gets Amakua up to 5 counters. and then just go check all the face downs. Now, he really shouldn't be using up all of his marathons on cards he already knows. Because what if one of these face downs... Well, I guess it really doesn't matter. I was going to say, what if one of the face downs is a Cyberdex Virus Suite? At which point, like, he loses the Amakua counters, but it really doesn't matter. Because he can still break Envelope with Tycoon if he really has to. The Corp is saying, so boring. The runner says, fair. I think that was to indicate that's fair, it is boring. So he's going in for the Envelope remote. The Corp might call this boring, but I don't think the Corp really tried to play into this at all. So Ken accesses a snare, but the Corp pays in to use it, but it doesn't really matter because Caldera just blocks all the net damage. Now he's a little worried because if he keeps going, and this was pretty smart on Ken's part, there are no snares in the bin. And if he keeps going, if he runs into this snare here and marathons again and another one of these cards is a snare, he ends his turn with a tag, guaranteed. And at that point, the Corp could trash his Caldera, his Aeneas, or even ignore the Caldera and just go for all of the Aeneas informants. I'm not sure which one would be the right call. Tough choice. You would want all of them. The game's kind of over, though, because the Corp is just going to run out of cards here. And what I meant when I said that the Corp isn't playing into this strategy is that they probably should have recognized what was going on here quite a bit sooner. And then instead of installing more Sundus, more remote cards, more things like that, they should have just stopped installing their cards. Built a super server with whatever ice they have. And forced Ken to come through it. Now, the other problem, though, is that Ken just marathons everything in that situation and then has a million Amakua counters. And just breaks through everything anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is just a bad matchup. This is a matchup that Replicating Perfection can't really win. They had the best possible scenario, and that was the scenario where Ken doesn't draw his last two Aeneas informants until, like, the last 44th card of his deck. Which is really what gave Replicating Perfection enough time to do anything in this game. Well, and here's the other problem, too, is that RP apparently uses Cortex locks, which are now blank pieces of ice at this point of the game. Even these Hokusai grids don't really do anything because the Hokusai grids don't do anything because they deal 1 net damage, but if Ken accesses them and then doesn't trash them, he gains 3 credits, and Caldera reads pay 3 credits to prevent 1 net damage. So here he goes again. He's gonna marathon everything, which is what he should be doing. Don't get me wrong. He continues to marathon things for money. But yeah, see, like, the Corp installed 2 bankers groups that they didn't even res. Possibly to try and fake out Ken, but it's just giving Ken more targets. Ken gets into the server for 3 credits. Because again, he's able to block the net damage for free because of Aeneas Informant. He manages to access Cortex Lock in HQ, a piece of ice that's been in there for quite some time. At this point, I think the Corp should concede. It's not really about, you know, not trying your hardest. It's just that there's no real win condition anymore for the Corp. Like, given this scenario, you could probably play it out 100 times and there's no game-winning move they have. They only have 9 more cards on our R&D. They could very well just all be agendas, because Daily Business Show has been bottoming them. He's going to think long and hard about his move, install a new card in a remote. But what does he do? I mean, like, nothing he installs wins him anything. He installs a new card in front of HQ, but it just doesn't matter. Like I said before, he needs... The only way he wins this is if he has a killer that he can install on the outside of, well, realistically, every server. Which, I don't think this guy has any killer except Cortex Lock. Looks like he runs Engram Flush, 3 Engram Flush, 3 Envelopes, 3 Cortex Locks. Wait, no. Yeah, no, that would work. Because, yeah, the numbers add up that way. And the rest of the 8 cards in his deck are probably just all agendas. Like, he complained that Ken's strategy was boring, but I don't understand why he hasn't conceded yet. I used to... Okay, so to sort of clarify a bit about that, I used to think that people who conceded were poor sports. Like, anyone who... Like, not just in Netrunner. I'm talking, like, you know, when I was, like, 5 years old. I used to think people who conceded were, like, always poor sports. You should always play the game to the very end. Playing regularly Netrunner with Leps and a bunch of other people has taught me that it's not really about conceding because you are being a poor sport. It's just admitting defeat. It's sort of like checkmate, like in chess, where it's very obvious that you can't win, like you've lost. But this situation in Netrunner is essentially like checkmate, where the Corp has very much just lost, so there's no need to keep playing the game. It's very clear that Ken cannot lose this. And so conceding isn't about being a poor sport and saying, you know, oh, I'm not going to play with you, or oh, I'm not going to finish what we started. It's just about admitting defeat. Admitting that the other person has bested you and that you don't need to waste both of your times. How do you say that correctly? Both of your collectives' time. Something like that. Anyway, Marathon on the new remote is just a Rashida. I mean, I just don't... I keep asking questions like there's logic, like there's some move that the corporation is trying to utilize to get out of this, but there isn't one. I just think this is Ken continuing to play because the corp is forcing him to play. And really, realistically, all Ken has to do is just look for the agendas and win. He sees a daily business show off the top of R&D. He lost a bunch of money going in there. How did he lose so much money? It should only cost him 2, 3, 4, 5 credits, plus however much it costs to trash daily business show. It should only cost him 9 credits. Did he break something with like an Amina? Amina? No, he broke Amina with Amakua, broke envelope with Amakua, broke court. No, he broke it all with Amakua. I guess he just dropped down. So he ran a bunch more on the remotes, goes back into R&D. It's going to cost him 5 credits to access R&D. After trashing daily business show, you would have to assume he finds something. It's a future perfect. Which of course they're going to have to play the side game. That's going to be obnoxious. At this point, normally the runner should bet 0. But at this point, it really is a mind game since money is really no concern for either player. They both bet 0. So the agenda goes to Ken. Ken just needs one more to finish off this mercy killing. It's not even a mercy killing at this point. It's prolonged antagonized suffering. It's R&D, and there's the House of Knives for the win. Whew. The runner actually apologizes for it being so tedious, but I really feel like he's being polite, but I feel like this, if it's anyone's fault, it's the corp's fault. Oh well. We'll just see a new interaction there. Marathon with Swift, with Ken, with Aeneas Informant. I guess the Aeneas Informant Marathon combo has always been in the game. It's not like Swift enables that. Swift just makes it more useful, because you're getting that extra click every turn instead of only on the turns when you play a run event. Or, what am I trying to say? Eventually you'll run out of run events, but Marathon ensures that you will never run out of run events. So, plus you're getting a credit back from Ken, plus you can use the Mystic Miami credits to make it free. Yeah, overall I can see the advantage of that. Anyway, that one wore me out, so I think I'm going to quit recording there. Whoops. There we go. Anyway, thank you for watching. Not the most exciting day, but certainly got to see a couple new things, and hope you had fun. I did. Happy analyzing, happy net running in your futures.